tall. Yeah, it should be fine then. I mean, he's taller than me, but that's on a slope. Oh. So, he's probably, what was that? He's a little taller. Yeah, he's a little taller. He's like 6, probably 6'3". You're what, 6'1"? Yeah, he's probably 6'3".
He's a little taller than me.
6'5"? Am I underestimating him?
You are.
Yep, I am also up on EMG 8 for this pressure that's about to happen.
You got out there on the wall.
Cool.
Go over here. Oh, that'll work. That'll work. It is end monitor. Turn the light off for now. Just so the flash is
Everybody ready?
All ready?
Anybody not ready?
Not a net.
Everybody ready?
Yes.
So good evening. I'm TK Waters, Chief of Investigations with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. So this evening about 5 o'clock p.m., officers conducted a traffic stop for a window tint violation in the 1300 block of Gulffair Boulevard. During that traffic stop, the passenger inside the vehicle on the right front passenger side jumped out, started waving his arms kind of wildly, and took off running. The officer that was addressing the driver stayed still while another officer gave chase on foot. A second officer gave chase in a vehicle or followed the subject in a vehicle. Subject made a couple, was running through the neighborhood through some backyards when another officer, a third officer, was parked in his vehicle preparing to deploy one of our drones to try to help locate our suspect. While he was sitting there, he saw the suspect run across Gulf Air Boulevard. Through his rearview window, he made a turnaround to go after him. And when he turned around and started approaching the suspect turned and opened fire 10 times at our police officer's vehicle, striking the hood, coming very close to our officer. Officer then returned fire. He stopped his vehicle, exited the vehicle. The subject was sitting on the sidewalk or on the curb of the sidewalk with the handgun still in his hand. He was ordered to drop the handgun and stand up. He did so, but he did not move. Officers then approached, ordered him to drop the handgun and move away from the handgun. I'm sorry, he had already dropped the handgun, but move away from the handgun. At what point he acted as if he wanted to, but he did not do that. They continued to order him loud, verbally, move away from the handgun. He stepped away about one step, maybe a step and a half, approached the handgun again. At that point, officers distracted him, de-escalated, and used their conducted energy weapon to take him into custody at that point. He was transported to the hospital where he is currently being evaluated for injuries. None of our officers were injured. The state attorney's office is on scene conducting an independent investigation, and I can answer any questions. But before I do that, I'd like to tell you who our subject is. His name is Demetric Manning. He's a black male, 30 years old. The suspect is a convicted felon and is prohibited from owning or possessing a firearm. His felony convictions consist of the following: armed robbery, kidnapping, carjacking, trafficking stolen property, and grand theft auto. He was released from prison on January 17, 2022, and he has outstanding warrants at the time of the stop. One was for aggravated fleeing and attempting to elude, and the second was for violation of probation on all the charges listed above. Tonight he was arrested for, or is being arrested for, armed attempted murder on a law enforcement officer, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, and several warrants for his violation of probation. I'll answer any questions that I can.
Can we talk about the driver? Are they cooperating with you?
The driver was very cooperative, stayed still. We had no issues with the driver.
And as far as the gunshots that you said he returned 10 gunshots, we spoke with a woman who said there were shots that went for her house. Was that from that person?
We're still under investigation, but the angle of the shots that came from the suspect wouldn't line up with that house.
And you said that he ordered to drop the gun. He ended up dropping the gun, but then he went back towards it.
So when the officers got out to approach him after he went down to the ground, he was sitting on the curb with the gun in his hand. They ordered him to drop the gun. He dropped it. He stood up. He stood just in front of the gun. They told him to step away from the gun. He did, but not very far, and went back toward it. Officers showed great restraint. They did not use deadly force, but they de-escalated the situation and took him into custody.
The suspect was only shot with a taser from the officer?
That's correct.
And where specifically?
The taser?
Where do you hit him?
You can't tell. He's being evaluated for some other injuries also, so we're waiting to hear back from the hospital what those were.
You said the person was flailing his arms as he was leaving the car running away. Does this person also have a history of mental health issues?
No, sir, not that we know of. We have no record of that.
Do you know what kind of gun he had?
It was a black semi-automatic handgun.
Was he saying anything when he was flailing his arms?
That I don't have information about that, no, sir.
And would you say that?
One more.
Go ahead.
Is this how you would want your officers to respond in this type of situation? Ideally, what you want.
When they can, yes, but it's ultimately important for them to be able to go home safely. And if the need arises for them to use deadly force in that situation, then we wouldn't second guess that. We would investigate it. But in this case, they were able to do so.
Thank you.
Thank you.